What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka New York Prepper. Wanted to just do a video on the whole debate about buying common ammo. And I just got a comment on one of my videos talking about one of my rifles, how I should buy a rifle that has a more common caliber or more common cartridge. And I wanted to just do this video because a lot of people, they don't think about certain things. They only think about, what everybody else is doing, and, they follow the pack. And it's human nature to want to do what other people do because you naturally feel safe and comfortable doing something that everybody else does. It's a natural psychological thing that people have, is that we don't want to be outliers by nature. We want to do what everybody else does, and we feel comfortable doing things that other people do because we think that it's the right thing because everybody's doing it. And so that's just human psychology. I'm not going to get too into that, but what I wanted to say was that I think a lot of preppers fall into a pitfall when it comes to selecting cartridges and calibers for their weapons, for their firearms, okay? And what you see on me here is my 44 Magnum, okay? This is what I would consider to be my SHTF pistol, okay? In a SHTF situation, SHTF meaning end of the world, okay? This is my go-to right here, okay? This is a Smith & Wesson 44 mag, okay? I've done lots of videos on this pistol, okay? And why am I doing this video? Because I want to shed some light on a topic that really frustrates me sometimes when people say, "Oh, Greg, why do you have a 44 Magnum for SHTF? It's just not that common. You're not going to be able to find ammunition for it. And, why don't you pick something more common like a 9mm, you know? And, same thing with rifles. I have friends of mine and even just going on discussion forums on the internet and just listening to a lot of preppers, they have that mentality that, okay, I'm going to get myself a 223 or 556 or, a 308, something that's, very common because it's going to be commonly available and it's going to be everywhere. If there's an SHTF situation that, it's going to be easy to find, ammo for a 9mm or, an AR-15 that's, chambered in 223 or 556 or 7.62 by 51. The whole theory is that, okay, it's very common, so I can get it anywhere and I can scavenge it anywhere. But one thing I wanted to give you guys something to think about is look at the recent ammo crisis that we had, because of this pandemic that we're in, the coronavirus, okay? You could not find any 9mm, you could not find any 223, you could not find any 308, 12 gauge buckshot. All that stuff was sold out, okay? It was very hard for people to find any kind of 9mm, any kind of 556, any kind of 308. 12 gauge buckshot was for the most part sold out, okay? And why is that? Because just because something is common doesn't mean that it's going to actually be available to you, okay? Because something is common is actually worse, all right? If something is common, that means everybody has it and there's more demand for it. And so if there's any kind of a crisis like we saw with the coronavirus, the panic buying with the ammo and with a lot of other things, people tend to buy things that are very common, and if everybody has it, then there's going to be shortages of it, all right? So with my 44 mag, okay, with my 44 mag, all right, I did not have any trouble finding ammunition for this pistol, all right? Same thing for my rifle, all right? I have a 300 Win Mag. I had no problem finding 300 Win Mag both online and in my local gun shops, all right? It was pretty much well stocked, and it wasn't just junky ammo. It was premium, premium high quality ammo at the store, and also online. I could easily get it. Okay. And why is that? Because not many people own 44 mags, and not many people own 300 Win mags. They're not common. All right, so there just wasn't that demand for that product, for that cartridge, and so as a result, it wasn't sold out. But all the 9mm were sold out. All the 223s were sold out. 12 gauge buckshot, you know, slugs, all that stuff was all sold out. Okay, so think about that, guys. You know, that whole you know, that whole thinking about, oh yeah, I got to get a 9mm because it's so common, and you know, all the law enforcement uses it, and you know, I'm just going to be able to scavenge it and barter for it, and it's going to be everywhere, and I'm going to easily be able to find it, and it's going to be at every store. That's not always the case, guys. All right, just because something is just because something is common doesn't mean it's going to be available to you. Okay, just remember, if there's millions of people that have the same pistol cartridge, okay, like, you know, if let's say there's 50 to 100 million people in this country that have 9mm, all right, you think that the stockpile of 9mm is going to be around after an SHTF event? I mean, just look at what happened now with the coronavirus, all the shortages. And it's not, honestly, the coronavirus is really not that big of a deal. All right, we're not talking about an EMP where our power grid is shut down or something like that. All right, we're talking about a temporary shutdown of society to control a health epidemic. All right, we're not talking about you know, a compromise to our power grid, or a war, a regional war, a world war. Okay, something like that would totally cause ammo to be wiped out completely. All right, if you thought this was bad, you know, the shortage was bad this time, you know, wait until there's, you know, something bigger like an EMP or a world war or something like that. Okay, or even a regional war or regional disaster. And all those things that are common are going to be the ones that are going to be in short supply. All right, the things that are most that everybody has is what, you know, there's going to be the most shortages of. All right, just think about gasoline for a second. All right, do you guys think after SHTF that gasoline is going to be widely available? Absolutely not. All right, because 80% of vehicles in this country run on gasoline. Okay, so what do you think is going to happen after SHTF? All right, there's going to be gas shortages because everybody has a car that runs on gas. So people are going to hit the gas stations. They're going to pump their cars up with gas, and there's going to be shortages in gas. All right. However, other types of fuel, like diesel fuel, are going to be much more available because there's just not that much demand for diesel in this country, except for truck drivers and, you know, some, you know, business owners that have trucks, you know, contractors and pavers and people like that. But for the most part, diesel is going to be widely available versus gasoline is not. All right. And that's the same thing with firearms and pistols and cartridges and calibers. Okay, just because something is common doesn't mean it's going to be available to you. Just think about it logically. Okay, if everybody has the same thing as you, do you think that it's going to be widely available to you? All right, so use your brain. All right, don't just jump on the bandwagon. You know, don't just do something because you read about it on a internet forum, or, you know, somebody told you something and you're listening to that person because they're a so-called seasoned prepper. Okay, use your brain, use your common sense. Okay, and just because law enforcement and military carry some type of a weapon doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be available to you because they have it. All right, they have their own stockpiles, they have their own supplies. So, you know, don't rely on that. All right, and just use your common sense, guys. Just because something is common doesn't mean that it's going to be available. All right, think about it logically. Okay, just look at like the whole situation with the toilet paper. All right, everybody cleared out toilet paper, everybody cleared out the paper towels because that's something common that everybody needs. Right, so those were the first things to go. All right, same thing with meat. All right, but there's still cookies on the shelves. There's still a lot of dairy products on the shelves, all right? You know, because that's something that's less in demand, all right? And that's the same thing with pistols and rifles, okay? The cartridges and the calibers that are the most common are going to be the ones that are going to be the hardest to find, believe it or not. It's kind of an oxymoron. It's you know, you would think that something that's common is easy to find, but if something is common, everybody's going to be using it, and there's going to be shortages of it, and everybody's going to be buying it up. All right, so I don't think it's true to say that, okay, a 9mm is the best and a 223 is the best because that's the most common caliber and the most common cartridge for rifles and pistols in America. And that's actually not true, actually, believe it or not. There's a lot of hunting ammunition and hunting rifles that are more common than the 223. You know, like a 308 or 3006, 270 Winchester. All right, those are actually more common. But so think about it, guys. Think about it logically, okay? This 44 Magnum that I'm wearing right now, all right, I was able to easily find ammunition for it, all right, during the ammo crisis, okay, during the coronavirus ammo crisis, all right. I could find, there was a lot of varieties of ammo, premium ammo, all kinds of ammo. Same thing with my 300 Win Mag. I was able to find premium ammo for it because nobody owns those kinds of. I mean, people do own them, but it's not as much as 9mm, okay? So, and same thing like with gasoline, all right? Just use that as an example, all right? Gasoline, yeah, it's very common, and okay, you can get yourself a car that runs on gasoline or a generator that runs on gasoline, and it's the same thing, okay? Just because you have a car that runs on gasoline or a generator that runs on gasoline doesn't mean that, you know, it's a common fuel source, okay? Gasoline is common. Everybody has, you know, gas cars, and everybody has, you know, gas generators, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to find gas, okay, after SHTF, all right? Because if everybody has something, then everybody's going to buy it and hoard it, and it's going to be the first thing to go into shortage, all right? Versus less common things like diesel are going to be the last things that run out, all right? So actually, all you guys out there that say to people, you know, you have to get a 9mm, and, you know, if you don't have a 9mm, you're not a real prepper, and you're not serious about your self-defense. And, you know, if you have a revolver in a 44 Magnum, you're just crazy. You know, you're not tactical. You know, your follow-up shots are slow, and your ammo is just not common. You're not going to be able to find anything. It's so rare, you know, but it's those rare things that are going to be the easiest to find after SHTF because people are not going to have cleared them out yet, all right? So think about it, guys, okay? Don't just listen to people on the internet. And I'll tell you one thing, guys. Anybody that tells me that this is a bad choice for SHTF or for home defense is on, you know, on crack. All right, this weapon right here, all right, I don't need to take 4 or 5 follow-up shots, all right? If I hit a bad guy in the arm with this, they're gonna go down, all right? The amount of damage that a 44 Magnum or a big bore cartridge like this does to soft tissue is remarkable, all right, compared to something like a 9mm. The damage is huge, all right? So I don't need a lot of shots. I don't need a 15-round magazine. All I need is 1 or 2 good well-placed shots to take the bad guy down. And all you guys out there that say, you know, you need capacity, and without capacity you're going to lose a gunfight, if you know, I think that's a bad way to think about things, all right? Because, oh, there's an eagle. It's a hawk behind me. He's in his nest. Oh, wow. Yep, he's in his nest. I must have flushed him out. There's 2 of them. You see that, guys? Look at that. Maybe I'll do a video on the hawk's nests at some point. Looks like I flushed them out. Sorry about that, my hawk friends. I'm gonna head out now, so finish this video so they can get back to their nest. I don't want to flush them out, but hawks are good for pest control. You know, they keep a lot of rodents in check, especially like a lot of mice and things like that, so they're good to have around. But you know, all you guys that say, you know, you need to have a common caliber and you need to have capacity and stuff like that, you know, that's a very one-sided way to think about things. All right, there's a lot of advantages that oddball calibers like a 44 Magnum offers. All right, like I said, it's still fairly common, but because there's not a lot of people with it, you're able to, there's not shortages in ammo for it. And then same thing, you know, a revolver. A nice thing about revolvers for SHTF is that I don't need a magazine. All right, if I lose my magazines and I have a semi-automatic, my semi-automatic just turned into a single shot. Okay, when you have a revolver, my magazine is built into the pistol. All right, I don't have to worry about buying magazines, finding magazines, recovering them. All I need is ammunition and I'm good to go. Okay, as long as I have ammunition and I have cartridges, I can shoot this thing, and it's very reliable. I don't have to worry about jams. And again, if I can't stop a bad guy with 6 rounds of 44 Magnum, there's something wrong with me. All right, if you need 15 rounds of any kind of pistol or cartridge, you know, to stop somebody, you need to spend more time at the range, or you know, you need to work on controlling your adrenaline and controlling your fear. All right, I feel like a lot of guys, you know, they go after the high capacity because they use it as a crutch for bad shooting. All right, they feel like, all right, I don't have to be as precise with my shots because I got, you know, 15 or 20 rounds in the mag. So if I make, you know, the first 2 or 3 shots are poorly placed and my fundamentals are crappy and my sight alignment is not good and my, you know, my trigger control is poor, okay, and I slap shot, you know, I jerk the trigger and I slap shoot the trigger and I mess up my sight alignment, and you know, I got 15 more rounds, it's not a big deal. Well, that actually causes people to build bad shooting skills, all right, because they lean on that capacity and they use that capacity as a crutch for poor shooting skills, all right. I'll tell you something, guys, if you only have 6 rounds in your cylinder, you're gonna make sure that your shots are really well placed and your fundamentals are solid, and you're gonna make sure that you're good with that pistol. All right, and so therefore, in my opinion, people who shoot revolvers and you know, guns like that have smaller capacity and more recoil build better shooting skills. All right, because first of all, you have to control the recoil more, which forces you to have better fundamentals in order to control the recoil and stop the anticipation of the recoil so you don't flinch. So, you know, once you shoot a lot of heavy recoiling pistols and rifles, once you go down to something like a 223 or a 9mm, it's an absolute joke. All right, it's an absolute joke. And you know, so, you know, not everything is so black and white, guys. Just because you read something on an internet message board, or just because somebody is a so-called expert, doesn't mean that they're right. Okay, use your common sense and think about things logically. Okay, don't let people tell you what's good for you. Okay, use your own brain and think about things logically. Okay, wow, look at that beautiful hawk there. He's circling around. He's coming back to his nest. Don't just jump on bandwagons. Okay, don't just do what other people do, and don't just listen to somebody because they told you, you know, that they have certain work experience or they've done certain types of jobs and that makes them experts on firearms. All right, just because you went to the military and you had basic training doesn't make you a firearms expert. Okay, basic military training doesn't make you a firearms expert. All right, it makes you an expert in the M4 platform and you know, the issued weapons that they give them. That doesn't make you a firearms expert. Okay, just because you're a law enforcement officer, all right, doesn't make you a firearms expert. All right, it makes you an expert in what you're doing and the weapons you're using for that particular job. but that doesn't make you an expert for SHTF. All right, SHTF is very dynamic, and the skills that you're going to need for SHTF are totally different than, you know, law enforcement or military. It's a different animal. Home defense is a different animal. Sure, of course, if somebody has law enforcement and military background, of course they're going to have, you know, better shooting skills and understanding of how to shoot properly, and, you know, experience with shooting. So of course that's going to put them above most people. But just because somebody goes onto a message board and says, you know, I was a cop for 10 years and anything I say goes, you know, I know everything and I'm a firearms expert. Well, prove it to me, okay? It's not just about being able to shoot a 9mm service weapon that you were issued in your academy. All right, what other weapons have you shot? You know, do you know about reloading? Do you know about gunsmithing? Do you know about long range shooting? Have you ever shot any heavy recoiling weapons? Okay, so don't just take people's advice blindly. All right, use your critical thinking skills. And you know, I'm not trying to bash, you know, cops or military. You know, I'm not trying to, you know, put them down by any means and make them sound like they don't know what they're doing. That's totally opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have some guys out there that get very arrogant and they think that, all right, I was in the military and I was in the infantry and I know everything because of that. Or, you know, I was a law enforcement officer and I know everything and whatever I say goes. And you better listen to me because of my experience. But a lot of these people that say stuff like that really don't know what they're talking about, all right? It's the people that don't have to brag are the ones that really know the most, okay? Anybody that's out there bragging about their background and bragging about everything that they know usually doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. That's just my experience in life. So, you know, because people that are well accomplished, their accomplishments speak for themselves, all right? They don't have to tell people, you know, what they've done and brag about it, all right? So, just wanted to give you guys some things to think about, all right? So consider less common calibers and cartridges when you're selecting your weapons. Not everything is, you know, all about getting something that's common, because like I said, just because something is common doesn't mean it's going to be available to you, all right? Just like gasoline, all right? Everybody has gasoline cars, so you would think that's a smart thing to get a gasoline car, but guess what? Gasoline is going to be the first thing to be to have the first type of fuel that's going to be short in an emergency, because everybody has gas engines and everybody's going to use up the gas, all right? Same thing like we saw with the coronavirus ammo crisis, the panic buying. All right, all the online dealers and all the gun stores were short of 9mm and 12 gauge buckshot because that's what everybody has and that's what everybody read about. And you know, they went on the discussion forums and their friends told them, yeah, get yourself something common because it's going to be easy to find ammo. Well, guess what? It wasn't easy to find ammo, and this isn't even a full SHTF. All right, in a full SHTF, it would be even worse. All right, so. But meanwhile, something like this 44 Magnum, I'm going to be able to scavenge ammo for this during SHTF because not a lot of people are going to be hoarding 44 Magnum. All right, they're going to be hoarding 9mm, 223, and things like that. But 44 Mag, I'm going to be able to find it. So think about that, guys, and take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.